Classwork 7.8. Okay, so we did 7.7 yesterday. Let's do 7.8 now. Analyzing quadratics in vertex form. So this is going to start with shifting it left and to the right. Also, we talked about it yesterday. And it's also going to tell us a little bit about the vertex form and how to find that vertex a little bit easier. All stuff we did yesterday, but this is going a little bit more in detail. So we discovered multiplying a quadratic equation by a constant changes the shape and the direction. Today we'll further investigate quadratic functions and observe how changes to the equation changes the location. So we're shifting up, down, left, and right. So the graph of y equals x squared is shown at the right. Use your graphing calculator to complete the table for y2 and y3. All right, so remember to do this, you want to clear whatever you had in your y1. So go ahead and clear that, and then let's type in my y2. So we're going to use parenthesis x minus 4, parenthesis squared minus 3. And then go ahead and do the same thing down here. So parenthesis x minus 4, parenthesis, but now plus 3. Squared plus 3. Okay, so your calculator should look like that. Go ahead and look at the table. So we're going to do second graph. Okay, we've got our table. And notice now we have our y1 and our y2. Right, so remember we put in that y2, we put that in our y1. So sorry, that's probably confusing. So for number 1, if we look at our value of 1, we're going to get 6 for the first one. And then 1, -2, -3, -2, 1, and 6. And then for the third, or this y3 that we put in, we're going to look at this column of numbers. So we're going to start out with, instead of starting out with 6, we're going to start out with 12. And then 7. And then 4. And 3, 4, 7, and 12. All right. Go ahead and plot these. Go ahead and plot these. But before you do, I'm going to see if we can find out where the vertex is, if you remember from yesterday. Just note, too, there is a typo here that should say -3. Okay, so if you remember from yesterday, if we shift it, if we have x minus 4 here, is that going to shift it left towards the negatives, or is that going to shift it right towards the negatives? If you remember, that's going to shift it right. So if we are going to graph our vertex here, we're going to move to the right 4 spots, and then that -3, does it shift it up or down? It's negative, so it's going to shift it down. 1, 2, 3. So there's our vertex for that y2. Let's see if we can graph this one. Okay. So once again, it's going to move it to the right 4, and then it's going to move it up 3. And there's our vertex for that one. Hopefully you remember how to do that. That is a skill you'll need this unit, so make sure you've got that. But now that we've got some of these points, let's go ahead and plot the rest of them. We already did the table, so that'll be just easy to plot the points and graph it. So 1, 6. 2, 1. Go ahead and plot the points, okay, and draw the parabola. Right, and you should have something that looks like that. Notice we couldn't graph 1, 12. And we couldn't graph 7, 12. And that's okay. We don't need to sketch the graph. When you were plotting the first parabola, which was my y2, sometimes it's easier to just cover up those other values and plot 1, 6. Plot 2, 1, 3, -2, 4, -3, and so on. And then when you're applying the second parabola, go ahead and cover up that middle row or middle column. So then you'll plot the points 1, 12, 2, 7, 3, 4, 4, 3, 5, 4, and so on. So I've seen in some students they like to cover it up to make it easy so that they know what points to plot. All right, and the question down below. So what is my vertex of y1? So my vertex right there is going to be 0, 0. My vertex for y2, you guys found that you went over 4 and down 3. So that'd be 4, comma, negative 3. And then my vertex for y3, you guys also did that. You went over 4 and then up 3. 4, comma, 3. Perfect. It's super important that you can find that first vertex and that you can locate it using the equation and not necessarily locating it with the graph. All right, question 2. I'm going to challenge you guys to not do the table at all. So go ahead and cross that out. If you have to do it, then do it, but go ahead and try it without. So first thing I want you to do is we've got our y equals x squared. So let's see if we can graph this one. So can you tell me, what are we going to go left or right, and what are we going to go up or down? Okay, so if it's plus 5, remember that means we go in the negative direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here we've got plus 2, so we're going to go up 2. 1, 2. All right, with y3, go ahead and tell me where the vertex is going to be for that one. Okay, good, we're going to go to the negative 5, and then we're going to go down 2. So there's my vertex for y3. And we're always going to try and copy this one. We have no number in front of the parentheses, so there's no like width or narrowness that we have to worry about. We know it's positive, so it doesn't flip upside down. So go ahead and just try to draw a parabola that matches what we have. And we're just sketching it, so if you guys aren't perfect here, that's okay. The part that I want to make sure you guys can do is do that vertex. So if you're good with the vertex, we're good. And go ahead and tell me what the vertices are for these. So y1 is then going to be 0, 0. Okay, what's my vertex for y2? Okay, that one's going to be negative 5, comma 2. And then what's my vertex for y3? Oops, sorry. Negative 5, comma negative 2. All right. And if you can do that, you guys are good and golden for the day. So don't forget to do homework 7.7. Should have done that yesterday. And then homework 7.8. Make sure you do that tonight for homework.